what's shaking, everybody? We're back. It's the Demo Show.
I got a new way. Go like, it's the Demo Show.
See, I was going to ask you, who do we need to do the jingle? And now you've changed it up on us.
It's the Demo Show.
Oh, my God. I'm going to have that in my head for days now. I'll just be walking around trying to go in as deep of a voice as I can. The Demo Show. The Demo Show brought to you by, at least for the rest of this month, mybucketlistavents.com. I'm really excited about this partnership because while they can help you out with your Longhorn tickets, if that's what you need, they can also help you out. And this is what they really do: big events. You want to go to the Olympics. You want to go to the Women's World Cup next year, the Masters, the World Cup, the Kentucky Derby. The Ryder Cup, I think, is the next big one. I know that I'm down. I've got to let them take me to the Champions League final some year. I've already got that one earmarked. I've been wanting to do that. Demo, whenever it's your whenever you're able to do a big event, like if you could do any big sporting event in the world, what would you do? Where would you go? What sport?
Where would I go? I always wanted to go to the Kentucky Derby.
Really?
I don't know. I just got a love for horses. So, going to the Kentucky Derby was always one of my dreams to do. And I always wanted to go to a NASCAR event.
Really?
Yeah. I know that came out of left field, but, that's something that I've always been interested in.
Well, because I was trying to think of which one. So we'd probably try to send you like the Daytona 500, right?
Right. Yes.
I think you would enjoy that. Like, that's an event. That's you go there for 5 days and it's like spring break, but with
I would love that.
car racing fans. It's not a bad time. Again, mybucketlistavents.com, new partner here on the Demo Show. Love to have them involved as being the official sponsor of the show all the way through the rest of the month. DeMarvion, where do we start today? You guys are in the thick of another week of practice. Like, it occurred to me, I guess, 18 days, man. Like, this thing, it's getting closer.
It's getting closer and closer each day. And just going out there preparing like the game is tomorrow is basically what we've been doing. Just sharpening the tools, wrapping up fall camp, scrimmage 2 Saturday. So getting ready for that. And then after that, it's on the Lafayette.
Tell me about that Lafayette game. Have you guys given that any thought at all? Like, the rankings came out, and I know that stuff doesn't matter, right? I mean, it's preseason rankings. But still, you guys come out ranked 19th in the country or 21st. I guess 21st, and then Louisiana comes in at number 23. That opening game, that's maybe one of the biggest games in the nation in that opening weekend. 2 ranked teams playing each other. Do you guys talk about that game? Is it even on the radar, or is it still focused on just being the best you guys can be, and you'll worry about that in a couple of weeks?
That's really what we've been doing, just focusing on, getting better at our craft, focusing on the scrimmage Saturday, because, we still got to go at each other one last time before we start, preparing for other teams. So just focusing on ourselves right now, really not looking that far ahead, even though it's right around the corner, but just focusing on ourselves, making sure, we got what we need in order to be ready for when September 4th comes. That
sounded like such a grown-up professional answer. It makes me think one of two things. You are really the old man. You're actually an old head on the team. And that's just where we are, where you say very grown-up old man things. Or that's like the programmed, that's the thing that you should say. It's kind of, that was very like from Bull Durham. It was very much a cliche. Is it old man reality? I mean, surely you guys are like talking about the games, right? Or is it, how do you stay so focused that a game that's 18 days away is not on the front, because I think most years people will talk about Oklahoma or I don't know, whatever the big non-conference game would be, but the season opener is such a good game this year. It's really different than, I've been doing this for like 25 years. There's not a lot of opening games that I would put and say it was exactly on the level of this one. So it's interesting to me that you guys could stay so focused in the here and the now and doing we're getting better day by day.
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, we're seeing it all over the media and stuff like that, being one of the top games for the season opener. But we knowing that we still got stuff to work on within our program. So really just staying focused on us instead of the outside, because we know, like I said a while ago, if we're not where we need to be by the end of camp, then we're definitely not going to be where we need to be when it's time to prepare for Louisiana.
You really are. You're like an old man soul.
Old head.
What would the demo show when you were a freshman? What would that have sounded like?
Bright-eyed and bushy tail, just up, happy around, body, just, I call myself one of the young bucks, looking up to the old heads.
When did that change for you? Was there a moment in your mind when, I would imagine everybody at every level of football can kind of remember when they go from being kind of a young player to somebody that's depended upon. You have a certain amount of leadership. Is there a moment in your mind where that kind of happened for you when you realized I'm a leader now and this is kind of my team and me being responsible and kind of a grown-up matters now?
Just like at the beginning of last year when I was named the starter, and then, my linebacker group started asking me questions and coming to me for advice. That's when I realized that, okay, I'm wearing the big boy pants now, and, people looking up to me within the program and people watching me outside of the program. So that's really when I really felt like, okay, I'm an old head now. I'm, what people are looking to within being the leader of this team.
I think we take it for granted how easily you've kind of slid back into just playing again. Like, there's another world out there where you're going through your like 15th defensive coordinator in the last couple of years. That's new position coaches, that's slightly new schemes and terminologies. It's a new head coach. It's like, you're coming off of an injury, which didn't allow you, it handicapped you from in a way that most of the guys around you had the whole spring to kind of do this stuff live. I'm somewhat really in awe that you've slid in so naturally. Like, one of the things we haven't heard anybody say is, oh, well, DeMarvion's still easing back into it. And how does that happen? Like, is it just, do you feel like you're at a position where your maturity level is just at a point in being an old head that you can kind of roll with the punches and do all of this? Because like I said, there's another world out there where all that stuff's kind of complicated and potentially a problem. And it doesn't seem like you've had any issues with any of that so far.
I've just like my freshman and sophomore year, dealing with a lot of injuries and stuff, and just watching older people at that time go through the same thing as I went through, having this injury going into their later years of playing, and then just bouncing back and just talking to them about it. It's really just a mind thing. Like, if you trick your mind into like believing that you didn't miss out, that you've been here this whole time, then I feel like it's an easy transition to getting back to playing. And that's really what I've been doing, just staying positive, not really thinking about all the time that I missed or the shoulder injury at all, just going out there and playing like I know how to.
If I say injury, new schemes, new coach, all of the new stuff, if you had to pick one that's been the trickiest to adjust to, or just, the one that requires the most amount of adjustment period, does one come to mind?
Well, I'll probably say the scheme, getting a whole different scheme and a whole different playbook, different play names, and then just not being on the field during the spring and actually just putting it all together. It's one thing to understand it in the meeting room, but it's another thing when you're actually on the field and trying to communicate with the other players and get this fit, that pass drop. So I would say the scheme, just tying it all together from the meeting room to the football field was probably the difficult part. But like I said, after you get going, after a couple of days, and it just come back naturally. You're out there, you seeing the stuff in the meeting room, you're visualizing it while you're at home, you're watching film, and you're just able to go on the field and perform it.
So from your perspective, it did take a couple of days for it to all just kind of be natural for you again.
Yeah, just to slow down again.
Interesting. If I say DeMarvion Overshown's mentor at Texas, the name that pops into your head first is whom?
Mentor. It's so many that come to mind.
You can give us more than one.
I'd say my freshman year, actually my freshman and sophomore year, I would say Collin Johnson. I talked to him a lot, and I saw him as one of the big brothers as soon as I got on campus because he was always there. I get injured, he talked to me, dealt with it, kept my head clear and stuff like that. So I would say Collin Johnson when I first got here, and my first 2 years here. So that's the name that come to mind first.
Interesting. Was there anything about him in particular that made for a good mentor for you, like just demeanor wise, or what was it about him that ended up being something that you needed?
Just the way he carried himself, and it was never a time where I seen Collin Johnson without a smile on his face or with his head hanging, no matter what he went through. Like his senior year, he was injured. He was over there with me. We was doing workouts where the injured players go. And, he was just talking to me, and I was just seeing how positive he was, knowing this is his senior year, and he's over here with me. He's injured. So that really, allowed me to push through what I was going through and just see that positivity from him and just carry it within myself.
How about that? People wouldn't know this, but right before we started recording, I asked if you were always smiling and whether or not you were always in a good mood. Who knew that it was going to circle back around and be tied up to Collin Johnson being a good dude and showing you what a good disposition can mean on a day in and day out basis. It's an interesting world. All right. We don't have a sponsor for this yet, but if I go the Demo Attaboy Award for the guy in practice the last couple of days, you got a chance to watch the scrimmage. So you are in a better position, maybe as much as anybody, to see who deserved this week's first Attaboy Award. Who's getting it from you this week?
It's hard to choose. It's hard to choose, but like from the scrimmage, I would say the whole defensive line. They just showed up, showed out, dominated the scrimmage. But as far as
real quick. Just so you know that in the Super Bowl back in the day, they gave out co-MVPs. So if the Super Bowl can name co-MVPs, I feel like Demo can name co-Attaboy Award winners. Okay. You don't get yourself in trouble here.
I'm gonna say also Mo Blackwell. He's jumped in. He had rep with ones and twos, just seeing him develop over fall camp and not missing a beat, just getting in there, going, playing like he's been here. So I would say Mo Blackwell, he's going to be a stud.
Well, since we're on the theme of young guys, give us a little bit of the Demo young player thing. Like, anybody been catching your eye? Is there anybody? It sounds. I would guess that maybe Blackwell's a guy that you would, maybe give the Collin Johnson treatment to. That in a few years I'm talking to him, and I ask that same question. Maybe he mentions your name, but do you find yourself paying attention to any of these young bucks?
I do. Like I mentioned, Mo, X, he's been doing his thing. Byron Murphy, I mentioned him a couple shows ago. The corner, he's running around on special teams, doing what he got to do. He's definitely going to be a stud also as he grow into himself and get his confidence on the college level. Jonathan Brooks, the running back, he's opened a bunch of eyes there in camp. So those just a couple of names that come to mind off the top of my head. It's a lot of them. They out there, working, but those just a couple that come to my head.
Now, just so you know, you've turned into a little bit of a super scout, because every time you've mentioned a guy, I swear, like a day or two later, everybody's talking about that guy. Whether it's been X or Murphy, like every time you mention a young guy, it feels like suddenly you were a day or two early and then everybody else is catching up. So just so you know, like now I'm fully expecting each of those dudes to get a shout out. Tomorrow, the coordinators meet and talk to the media for the first time. I'm expecting name drops.
Yes,
and then
sir.
we'll be able to turn around and say, Demo told us on the show. Sponsor that
right
piece. Sponsor it up. That'll be the most, every time you're like a stock tip. If it happens tomorrow, it's officially a trend. And we almost have to establish it like a stock market tip because it'll have been so on point. Last thing, and I'll let you go because it's time for you to get on with the rest of your evening. Just the rest of the week. Let's assume we don't talk for the next few days. Where's your headspace like for you? Is it just, what does it mean to get better? What do you want to do specifically tomorrow?
Tomorrow, just digging deeper into the offense concept, situational things like 3rd and 5, the offense finna do this. I need to do this quicker, react faster, just things like that. Just digging into the offense more, playing faster, things like that. So
I lied. I got 2 last quick questions. The maddest that you've been at yourself in practice at any point in camp so far, the maddest that you've been at yourself, and the happiest you've been with yourself over something that happened at any point during camp?
The maddest I've been at myself. Oh, let's see. The maddest I've been at myself.
No blown coverages, nothing in film room that you didn't want anybody to see.
I'm trying to think.
It's good that you don't have an answer.
I know it's been a couple plays where I'd be like, man, like I hate to put that on film, but I wouldn't put it as like it was some tragic or something like that.
That's fair. Well, has there been a happiest moment?
Really, the happiest moments for me is just seeing my guys go out there and, perform like we talk about in the meetings. Just seeing them go out there running around, hitting, catching interceptions. That's been the happiest part of me, because that means as a leader that I'm doing my job, carrying them, keeping them, up, because I know camp gets hard, but, the fact that they can go out there and perform like they not worried about it, like we haven't been doing this, and like we're not at the facility all day. That's really the happiest that I've been all camp, just seeing them go out there and perform well.
It's the Demo Show.
There we go. Yes. I'm gonna keep thinking though. I've been thinking of some more that I'm gonna pitch out. I gotta find that one.
It's the most talked about thing that we're doing so far on our channel. Everybody has an opinion on the jingle. I think there are people who are disappointed that we don't have an official jingle yet, but it's as organic. Like we gotta, You have to let this thing just happen naturally. Like if
Let
we
it
come
go.
up with it, if we'd had a jingle, that means there would have been no updated jingle tonight. We'd have just had this thing that we made. And now look where we are. Everybody
Coming
around
along.
Austin is going to be doing their best Barry White impersonation, saying the Demo Show. Brought to you by mybucketlistevents.com. Again, thanks to the guys at mybucketlistevents.com. They're literally the first sponsor of the show. It's a big deal that My Bucket List Events jumped out and said, we want to get involved. We want to sponsor DeMarvion. We want to be involved in this project. How do we do it? And let them take you to the Super Bowl. Let them take you to the Ryder Cup. Go to mybucketlistevents.com. That'll just kind of take over from there. All of your needs can be met at the website, and they'll take care of it from there. Anyway, look, for myself and DeMarvion Overshown, who is doing his leadership thing. I can already tell. I'm going to be so proud of you as this season goes along, because like we're getting to know you, and everybody likes you. Do you realize like nobody likes me. Everybody likes you. And that's not an easy thing to do. And so like, I just, on behalf of everybody that's watching these videos and doing them with you, thank you for like just being you, but allowing us to see you, it, I think, has completely opened up a lot of eyes as to like who you are, what we're watching this year on the football field. I mean, it's going to be a different experience for me to watch you play. By the time we get to by the time we get to the first game, I'm going to be like a parent in the stands watching every play, like, go DeMarvion. Never had that before in 25 years. I will be completely honest. I will not be able to be neutral. For myself and DeMarvion Overshown, thank you for watching the Demo Show.
The Demo Show.
Right here on the Orange Bloods Texas Football Channel. We'll talk to you soon. Later.